Hello everyone. Once again, welcome to my channel. I have a few guests. Well, they're going to become regulars because in order for us to do this, I need help, clearly. So you guys can go ahead and introduce yourselves. I will be quiet.
Ladies first.
Hi, I'm Amber Keene.
Hi guys, I'm Tyrell Singletary, the greatest. We might as well let them start knowing now.
That's true.
We might as well let them know now.
So, they are both my classmates. We are all second semester students, and we just wanted to come on today to talk about myths about Caribbean schools. Caribbean schools. Why did I use air quotes? Because our school is technically a Caribbean school, Ross University School of Medicine in Dominica, but because of the hurricane, we relocated to Knoxville. So we've been here. We don't know where we're gonna go after here, but
we don't. If you do, comment below.
Please, if you do, please, if you have somebody in the higher up, let us know, because we don't know.
Especially you potential new students, they tell y'all before they tell us.
Do they really?
Yeah,
They told them that they were going to be here till December way before they told us. Oh. They were accepting them and telling them that we would be here till December.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
what?
Just FYI.
FYI, that's right, I guess. Yep. So, but we know for sure that we'll be here until December. So, after that, we don't know where. So, we're going to do that, and we can start with Amber. Is there a myth that you've heard?
It's still hard as hell. I feel like, from what I've heard from, colleagues who are going to school in America.
Like air quotes, in America.
American schools, our curriculum seems to be the same. Material seems to be the same. However, we were moving at a much faster pace than what seems the American students are moving.
Right.
And we absorb a lot of knowledge a little bit quicker than they do. One thing I've heard, and it may be different in how different people feel as far as, preparing you for STEP. I do feel like they're trying their best. I feel like all schools try their best to prepare us for STEP, but how they're doing it, I feel they're doing a pretty good job. They're asking us appropriate questions in the style of questions that they ask us continuously on our tests. They try to mimic STEP as much as possible to get us ready for that point. So I don't really feel as right now that there's a huge difference. We'll see as we advance on in our journey. But right now I feel like it's all basic sciences. We're all learning. We all have to learn the same material.
Right.
I'm liking the way that Ross is teaching us through modules. First semester is not like that, but as you further on, you figure out that it's going to be in a module setting. And so even American schools don't teach it like that. Sometimes they'll just teach you all biochem, all anatomy, and they don't integrate.
Okay.
Yeah, they just take it as a class instead of taking it as a module.
Okay.
And I was just hearing that from a colleague, Ferran, yesterday. He was saying that the school that he wanted to go to doesn't teach it in a module setting.
Okay.
And so I do think that's an advantage for us. Like I said, we do move pretty quickly. We don't have breaks. We don't have like a whole summer break where we just get to kick it and kiki like a lot of people. But we are moving. We're progressing. We do get small breaks, which I feel is a little bit better than having a huge long break. Because in medical school, you got to keep seeing the stuff. And if you just have a long period of time where you're not doing anything, you're gonna lose a lot of the material that you've already cemented in your brain. Just because when your mind is idle, you don't.
You're not
don't try to keep those things fresh. So having small breaks helps with that.
Okay.
And I have heard from other people who've graduated from Caribbean medical schools that they feel like they also have an advantage sometimes because attendees think that we don't know the information, but we do have to know the same basic information. And so we come and we're fighting because we're fighting against people who are graduating from American medical schools in a system in America. So we do our clinical rotations in America. Mm-hmm. And so we still have to come in and we're telling them things that we're learning, and we have to still answer questions because we are working very hard just like they are in America too. So that does happen. Myth number 2 that I know of is going to be the financial aspect. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. I have to go through a private loan, or I have to, I have to get a loan from whatever country I'm doing school in. Well, with Ross, and I know at St. George's and some other the Caribbean medical schools, you actually can get federal loan money. So most of my loans thus far, well, all the ones directly for medical school has been from a federal loan. So you do get that information. Again, the price is going to be just like any medical school.
Yeah,
I'm going to be in debt.
We actually did the calculation.
We did the calculation.
Amber and I
There's
did.
some American medical schools are way more expensive than coming to Ross. At the end of the day, it's like we sat there one day and we're like, okay, what's the difference? And it's a cool $50,000 difference, sometimes 30. We're coming out a little bit cheaper. You know what I'm saying? So it's really med school is expensive no matter where you go. You go give or take 30 to 50 grand, but that's not really that much in the grand scheme of things when you're coming out $300, $400.
Right. And just to put it in perspective, like our semester is about 35,000 roughly about $35,000.
That's including like everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
That's like your
extra
tuition.
Yes.
So like about
tuition was like 25,000, 27,000.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yep. And then so now because our school's a little different as well, where you could take an accelerated track, or you could take their curriculum, which is 11 semesters. So what we did was we just multiplied that. And it's a little different when you're in your clinicals by a couple thousand, but we did the whole calculation and it came up to like 200 and what was it?
70 something.
Yeah, $270 something $1,000, and that's like not interest. And your loans is accumulating. Like my first semester, it accumulated like $400 and something. $400 and something $1,000, like $400. I'm sorry, worth of interest. So, and you cannot work. Like, I know no one that works. Yeah, you can't, because medical school is very demanding. It's very, very, very demanding. And if you've gotten to the point where you want to go to medical school, or you're in medical school, you've already given up everything, you know? Like it's not a lot of people will say, yeah, I'll go and see and maybe I can work. Like maybe if you're doing your 4th year rotations, you have an off period and you tired and maybe you want to work. Like some people are nurses, so they can probably do like a night
moonshining.
Yeah, a night shift. But if you're not a nurse, I mean, or something else, you're really studying.
You are studying a lot. But guys, when it comes to finances, it's all about you. That's one of the personal things. This is going to go for any medical student. And it's all about how you set your lifestyle up. Like, there are some people who, like, personally, I can't have a roommate currently.
Can't do it.
And so I don't have a roommate. But there are some people there are people who have roommates, and they're like, hey, that helps them save money, and it also helps them like stay academically active, things like that. So I mean, it's up to you how you want to live. And with finances, also you have to know like what's your limit, what you need to live. So just remember that point too.
And then there's a lot of negativity about Caribbean schools on the internet. And I mean, I don't know if you guys read like student doctor stuff.
I personally, even before coming to Ross, I just I didn't know that people were like so negative about Caribbean schools.
Like I've read a lot of stuff. Like a lot of not so great stuff about Caribbean schools. You know how there's like 1,000 people in the classroom. There's not 1,000 people in a classroom.
No, I heard other ones that it's like that.
Right, but even
No.
St. George's, like I know people who go to St. George. Like you have to text the people that you know, find somebody that you know and ask them specific questions. Because prior to coming, this is the thing. There could be 600, there could be 1,000 people in your class. It doesn't matter. We're in an era nowadays where if there's 1,000 people in your class, maybe 20 of them will come to class. If it's not a required class, nobody's coming. Like they go. I know. but it's like
it's what works for you.
Yes.
And the 1,000 student thing being in your class, if there is, you have to weigh out your pros and cons. Like I know personally, like that's one reason I chose Ross was because I didn't want a super, super huge class. There was only 350 of us last semester for our first semester. But you just work it out for your schedule. And so like, in the negativity part, yes, Caribbean schools do have a negative connotation on it for different reasons. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's just like, sometimes you need that foot in the door thing. Yeah. And like, I know for me, like that's one of the few things that like, I heard from my undergraduate institution actually was that about Caribbean schools, it's just like, you shouldn't go to a Caribbean school because of this or that. And at the end of the day, it came down to how much do I want the MD behind my name?
Yes.
I'm going to get the MD behind my name. I'm just working hard to get it.
And you're taking a different route.
Yeah. And I think being unique is something. Like, I'm a unique person anyway. But we're not going to talk about that later.
But what gets me about that, and the people like being super judgy about where you get your degree, like
these are people, by the way, that don't even go
they don't
to
go
Caribbean schools.
Yeah.
These are opinions coming from people that have heard from this person or somebody. They have a friend that goes there.
They have their own blog out there about being a medical student.
At the end of the day, you're getting a medical doctorate degree. Like, no matter where it's from, that shit, I'm sorry. That those things, it's gonna be hard. Like,
yes,
if you went to med school in Canada, if you went to med school in Australia, if you went to med school in South Africa, if you went to med school in Afghanistan,
seriously, and
it's medicine.
It's not
an easy thing. It's not an easy test. No matter where you go to, I just don't understand like how you can put a negative connotation on somebody trying to get it and grind and be a civil servant of the community, and you're gonna judge somebody by where they went to school. You have to go to, you know what I'm saying? It's where you get your education shouldn't determine what type of doctor you're going to be.
Because it doesn't.
It shouldn't.
Because it doesn't.
And it's just like, who are you to judge what school I went to,
and
what undergrad I went to, any of that? Like,
and a lot of it is coming from people that did not take that path. Okay, so the moral of the story is if you are thinking about going to a Caribbean school, first of all, do your research. And by research, I don't mean go online and read. Okay, call the school up, ask them all of your questions. If they can get you in touch with someone that went to that school, like another one is like, oh, they'll tell you, if you want to do family practice, then you can go to the Caribbean. Or if you're doing something, no, we have people that are surgeons. We have people that are like, and the alumni is getting bigger for Caribbean schools because they do graduate way more doctors out there. So, like, for example, Ross has people sitting on big boards, like, and it's, at the end of the day, it boils down to who do you know? And how hard have you worked, and who's seen you, who's seen your face, like getting in there, like she said, just grinding, just being familiar. Go to the meetings.
When piggybacking off her on research, I mean, don't just sit there and read everything online, because I promise you, I read Ross's whole website backwards and forwards, St. George's backwards and forwards. Like, I know the information that was there, but that information, any school you go to, even in an American school, everything is a business. Please note that everything is a business. So
hospitals,
everything is a business. So you have to understand that everything you see online is going to be beautifully written. I promise you, beautifully written. But at the same time, I also did my research by I talked with alumni. I called the school and I asked them the real tough questions, like, how long is this going to really take me, which is the same amount as an American school, things like that. I mean, I still got all that information out of the way, but Tyrell is a little extra sometimes, and so like you can go online now, and there's these things called like pre-med communities. There's also like pre-med blogs where you can ask these questions, like pre-med docs or whatever. And then people started giving you like their email address and saying, "Hey, I'm a student right now at Ross. Hey, just hit me up with your questions that I can answer them. If you don't want to ask them on a blog or something like that, don't take it too creepy where you go to Facebook and just type in Ross University and you go look for students at Ross. I mean, some people do that. Some people do that, but just note that like
that would be me.
I mean, that's the way you make friends. And I'm not saying that
I didn't friend any of them. I was just a creep. That's all.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but just like that's the way to get to know the information you need to know. Like, because you really do want to talk to students. You really want to know what's going on because the school's going to tell you what sounds nice to get you to come in. Like, there was one school that, again, I know the website like the back of my hand. And, like, I was talking to them, but I also found a student on one of the websites, and I was asking them questions, and they just told me, like, they're like, oh, well, yeah, the school has all these things, but it's not like they're very student-oriented or student-driven. It's more so headwigs tell everybody what they're going to do, and that's why I didn't choose that school. So, I mean, it's up to you completely what you want to get, what information you want, and what school will be a good fit for you.